Hello and welcome once again here to Nerve Check. I am me once again here with well, with the mustache himself, Mr. John McCready, and we are also here with Harry and Corey, who are both from the Northeast Masters team. And what we're hoping to do here is just kind of give an overview on what the people are, because we know the Northeast is already going to be the best, and we're going to end up with whatever award that is, because I did lots of research and looked into these things, and we're just going to win a heads up. So, how you all doing tonight?
Real good. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, great.
Well, we're just going to keep this quick and simple this time around. Harry, you let's just quickly start on who you are, basically. What are you bringing, and why that faction?
Rad. My name is Harry Garrett. I'm Boss Salvage on the entirety of the internet. I am the free dwarf at Masters.
The free dwarf.
Yes.
That's right.
But I'll be real. I'm really just playing rocks. You want me to talk about my list?
It's up to you, mate.
If you want.
Like the listener, you don't have to go all the way through it. It's completely up to you, mate.
All right. I probably will, I guess.
Sure.
I've kind of played the same thing. I'll just talk to some concessions for Masters. Originally, I was going to play in Best of the Rest. Justin Berg had to drop, so I happily took the spot, and I'll give it a shot. 6 games seems like a lot. I've never done this many. Here's what I'm bringing: 3 hordes of Earth Elementals. 1 is Sharp. 3 Mastiff packs. They throw Mastiffs. I've only taken Mastiffs that throw Mastiffs once, and I just assassinated every undead character I could shoot. It felt good. Right. But the way I use Chaff is to just have them die. So to me, it's like 45 points, wasted. But like, it's the thing to do. I'm taking a Regiment of Stoneclaws. Oh. Originally, I got pretty hooked on Brox recently because Free Dwarf Brox have Pathfinder. 26 attacks is super cool. Really cool. My army maxes out at 18, so having just like a strength of dice to lift a horde or something like that seemed nice. But Stoneclaw Riders are awesome. It's free dwarfs. I should take the good thing. They feel really good. I played them several times, so that's my concession-y thing. I know it's a hell of a concession. I took
one concession. Take the one good, the one really good thing.
And my dogs have bees, so that's also somehow a concession. I have 3 greater rocks. One of them is Kragoth. Kragoth is awesome. Kragoth is the legendary upgrade. So he's a giant rock that scouts, self-inspires, and shoots a fireball. He always gets people on the back foot. It feels good. I have 2 dwarfs on large beasts. One has a trickster's wand. That's a Mike Rossi thing. I feel really validated because I'm playing Reforged, my first matchup. They have the please hex me every turn.
The shrine.
Yeah.
I'm also height 4, but he's very tall, so I'll just hex it constantly. So a dude with the Trickster's Wand and a dude with Mace of Crushing, so maybe he kills something more. And then I have a Stone Priest, Surge 8, Banechant 2, Scorched Earth 2. At this point, I really dislike Surge. I just never use it because good players don't let you. But if you don't take it, it's only a bad thing. I love Scorched Earth. I will Scorched Earth all day, every day. I super love it. And so that's the entire army. The army is basically like a stat check. And a lot of people will be able to do it, I think, at Masters. That's what I found in tournaments, is that people are prepared to lift this level of Def 6. What saves my butt is dash 18 and dash 19. It's the slightly a little bit
got
higher.
That little nerve bump, right? That pushes it over the top.
Yeah. I played somebody that didn't believe me that they're dash 18, and I was like, sir, I probably wouldn't play them if they were dash 17, because it's just everybody texts for 17, so that little bit more is nice. I also have the Hexagon for what's that?
I said 1 point does actually matter.
Yeah, for sure, especially when you're fearless. Basically everything's fearless or it's
right, because you're always punching back.
Yeah, it feels good. That's the list and some commentary on things I gave up. So the Brock version I would have taken to Best of the Rest. I'm gonna take it to Crossroads. it's just like kind of dumb fun. It has almost no items. It's just like a 26 attack brick and then a whole bunch of fearless. Oh, they're fearless too, which feels good.
More fearless.
Yeah.
So was the real reason you just didn't want to roll that many dice? You got to 18, you looked at 18 dice in your hands, and you were like, the rest are just going to be heavy. Is that kind of where you went with that sort of a thing there? Was that it?
Oh, to cap it off. I mean, I guess it's easy. So when the birds flank, because the birds kind of always do,
Birds
that's
are
18.
really good.
It's very clean. Everything's just 18 dice. Why am I running Free Dwarfs? It's because of Kragoth in the end. Part of it, so when people ask me, I always say it's because I'm not a fascist. And then the second thing I say is that it's because Kragoth. It's just really cool. The first time I played it was the first round of Crossroads last year, and I like yeeted him 12 inches at an elf mage and like glade stalkers and stuff who just spent the rest of the game dealing with Kragoth, who lasered the little mage to death. And then I eventually died to the glade stalkers actually because they're good. But it was really great to just like shove somebody back with just a giant rock. I've played Shambling in plenty of other armies, so being able to go 12 and then it's like immediately going 6 and just taking control of stuff feels really cool. And I also knew Free Dwarfs were going to get birds. I made this army last summer. We knew, right? That's a dwarf on a bird that's going in Free Dwarfs. So like I started to, I have like my entire army is like Warforged. So it's like robot people. So I started to amass files for robot things with wings. There aren't that many of them, as it turns out, because I knew it was going to happen. I printed a lot of actually Stone Claws, but I dialed it back in the end because I talked to a great person actually about it, and like I dislike them because it just feels like winning. But I don't like to just win, gentlemen.
Harry is the opposite. Like
I have
Harry
to
says,
be
he's making
special.
It's not
concessions
difficult.
because he's not taking the good stuff. He doesn't like to take just the good stuff.
Yeah. I have a problem. That's why I've not gone to Masters before, is that like I have to be special and like
But
auto.
what's your special?
Kind of boring.
Killing things? Because the last 2 tournaments you took it to, right? It was like mass attrition, right?
Yeah. So I'll speak to that. I took this to a bunch of tournaments. I tend to play one army for like a year or so. So Crossroads, I was the second highest battle. I was the first highest on the first day, and I was the second over the entire thing. Crossroads is weird, matchups are strange. But I tabled like 2 or 3 people with a bunch of rocks, and then I went to Dead of Winter and I got highest attrition. And then at Orktown, I missed highest attrition by 70 points. So like, there's a lot of violence.
A lot of murderizes so much stuff.
Yeah.
I was really lucky, and I played you at Dead of Winter. I was the guy that took off your Kragoth. So I was very, very happy to play you because you were like, I'm just going to run it forward and you can't do anything about it. And I was like, I think I can.
Our game was wacky because you were like your whole army in snares, right? And I was like, oh, I hit on 5s. Well, I just rolled a lot of 5s. So
it was one of those as well. It was fantastic. I love your army. I love the way it looks. It's always a good time, man. It really is.
Yeah, that was a crazy game. I think we drew, didn't we, or something? Anyway.
Yeah, I think we pretty much did at that point. Well, I killed a lot of your stuff, so I was like, yeah, this was good for me. So you're playing Rift Forge Orcs?
Yeah, it's Nick Scabetta.
Oh, you're playing Scabetta. Oh, wow.
I don't know. I think I played him in fantasy, but there's a good chance that I just played the army in fantasy, because isn't it like Knickerbocker's army, right?
Yes, that's entirely true.
Yeah, so I was looking at the list. Yeah.
So I was going to say, so technically you're playing another Northeast guy because he's from Buffalo.
Yeah,
he's been worked out. So damn. Oh, okay, that worked out actually quite well.
Yeah, Northeast violence.
Yeah, there's not a lot of Northeast violence because I think Corey Walliser is playing Ray Shields round 1 in Masters too.
He is.
Oh yeah.
All right. So you're playing Nick. So is there anything you're looking at in Nick's army that you're just kind of like, I'm not too sure about this? Or of course the answer is no. You just say that there's nothing in his army that I cannot break.
Yeah. So I rarely spend a lot of time on the pre-match for tournaments I go to.
You're a good man.
Every match that's not the first one.
Right.
Is going to be fresh. So I tend to approach it like this. I did look at the list. I will, with hubris, say that nothing scares me. It's got a ton of units. So His list is like 17 drops, 30 unit strength. I'm 13. Looks at notes. I'm 13, 22. I don't even think it really like. I'm just gonna hammer the crap out of everything and roll hot nerves. I just jinxed
Push it
myself so
forward.
bad.
Push it forward,
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah, but he so a horde of legionaries or whatever that frightens me. Horde's like 25 attacks with all the Bane chant behind it. Can lift like rock units, but he doesn't have any hordes. He has one unit of cats. They have Strider. I'm gonna light them on fire every turn. So they're gonna hit on 4s. He's not gonna want to go in. I don't know. I guess he's gonna try to multi-charge, but like I'm the exact same speed as him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not too concerned. He has a lot of cool, like junky drops, like a lot of trashy regiments. I don't know what those are doing against me. Right? There's not a lot of chip damage. He doesn't have Thonar, so there isn't a point where I'm gonna hit on 5s.
Right.
He's got some nerve because he has 2 drums, but he doesn't have a giant. Usually, I'm used to the 2 drums. Right? They just prop up a giant and make him 22.
And that hurts rocks, right? Crush 4.
Yeah, the Storm Giant scares me. I fought Ryan from Texas at Orktown, and he had like that giant is why I didn't get high attrition because I couldn't kill that giant. And he was in the middle of the table, and I just kept piling stuff, and he would just kill things. And like I run out of stuff. I mean, I only have so many rocks, so I'm not that concerned. I feel like I just jinxed myself a lot. I'm not even sure like what scenario would be that scary. I used to think that many units was really the answer, but when they're reforged, I don't really know.
So what are you
gonna be fine?
Yeah, I don't think you're going to have too many problems with the list that you're taking, and you're such a nice guy to play. I mean, you're slaughtering some of my stuff, and I was like, damn, I'm smiling the whole time. So
yeah.
So what going into this, I guess you're not looking at like what are your expectations basically on like you're just going to go and have a good time sort of thing, and where the chips fall where they may. And
yeah, I pretty much always try to go 50%. I guess that means 3-3. Those last games are gonna be rough, like Sunday night's game. So what I often do at tournaments is my first day is quite good, and then I either like fumble the third one, or I face Corey in the third one, or I like fly high and then I get crushed on Sunday morning, and Sunday's a rough day. So we'll see what happens. The rocks are weird. The rocks are so based around brutal nerve checks, right? Which is just like hard dice. I played Herd the year before. I played Free Dwarfs, Rocks, which is like the opposite. And I would do quite well, but I would hit the cap on Herd, which is
there's a ceiling on that, right?
Ultimately. Yeah. So like I would start breaking against anyone who had guns, or if like I would bounce or something. With the Rocks, I don't really know. I mean, I don't think there's highest attrition. I'm definitely going for highest attrition. That's the answer.
It's what you should do.
Yeah, murder.
Yeah.
Yeah. True. Yeah,
right.
So I'm going for a good time. I mean, I would have been there anyway, and so instead, it's really rad to play with the Northeast on Masters. Like, why not?
Yeah.
That's super cool.
We're happy to have you.
Yeah,
thanks, John.
Well, right. All right, there, John.
All right. So, Mr. Reynolds, I think most
Yes,
of us,
sir.
and probably the other 8 people who watch this, will know who you are. So we can skip right into,
the dozens
what
and
you're bringing
dozens of
and-
people that watch.
and the tens of people that watch
tens
probably
of
all
people.
know you already. Yeah.
We are the ones.
So why don't we skip down to like, what are you bringing? Why that faction, and what are you expecting in your first round?
So I'm bringing Twilight Kin, which is what I've been rocking for the last 2 years since the new list came out. Sadly, I didn't get the models painted up, so I have the entire Mantic range all ready to go, but I lost a lot of painting motivation this year, so I'll be bringing the Asian-themed version of that list, which is fine.
The gorgeous
it's done.
Asian
It's painted.
Yeah. It looks nice.
Yeah.
It's painted.
So I'm happy with
You're
that.
bringing that.
With Masters being so close to Crossroads, I was like, I don't have time to prepare for both. So I'm more prepared for Crossroads than I am for Masters. So the list is, I was actually waffling on thinking about taking Rats for Masters because Ray Shields and I have been commiserating about 3 hordes of shock troops and tooling them up and giving them Vicious, giving them Fury, and kind of doing the outgrind game, and then and because people aren't ready for that level of nerve, if you can rally it up, right? So
It is
I
a
had
very spicy list.
yes, and I had a version of that with a bunch of claw shots and some breath weapon teams and a bunch of support pieces and some chaff, and they looked really good. And then the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, I can do 3 hordes of infantry way better at Twilight Kin, and that's where this list came from. So it's 2 Fleet Warden hordes with sharpness and strength. It's the Void Walkers, the ensnarers with melee 3 and the hammer, and then it's a bunch of countercharging pieces, right? It's the 2 Void Skiffs. It's got some Soul Flayers. It's got some Phantoms. It's got the Void Captain with the Blade of the Beast Slayer, 2 Weakness Casters, a Navigator with the extended aura from the Sacred Horn, just so I can reach all those infantry blocks, and then a Soul Bane on a Nightmare, all for countercharging purposes. So I think it's pretty straightforward in what it does. It's like, come get me, come into the meat grinder, and then
Take the first
let me
hit.
countercharge it, right? And it does what Twilight Kin normally does. It says, I take away the things you want to do. I got Phalanx, I got Ensnare, I got Blood Hex, I got Weakness all over the place. So whatever you want to do is not going to work. And so I played this weekend at the Thing Beyond the Wall, and I played a test game against Crispy when he was up here, and it hasn't lost yet. So
No, it hasn't.
I think it's pretty good. I think it'll do okay.
Yeah, I got my teeth kicked in by it, and very proudly got my teeth kicked in by it. And I was, it does all that stuff. It's a damn good list, man.
Yeah, I think the hordes of infantry can kind of take a lot of 2-on-1 charges and be okay, and then outgrind everything else, and other stuff dies when it gets flanked. So I think that theory has kind of proven out so far. I'm pretty happy with it.
3-on-1 for one of mine. So
You're right.
Really.
And I think, like Harry said earlier, people are building to beat defense 517 nerve, right? They're not ready for defense 4, defense 5, 25 nerve. So
it's a big nerve jump. Yeah. So who are you playing in the first round?
So I'm playing, ironically, Rats, Nick Michelonis out of, actually, I think he's from Texas. He's from the South, but I think he's working for the Pacific Northwest, if I remember right. So
okay,
he and I will be playing first round. And like Harry, I don't theorize on matchups, but with this army, it's not about what the opponent brings. It's just I play the game that I need to play and make them do something about it, right?
Yeah. So is he bringing the meat grinder rats, or is he bringing something?
So actually, I took a brief look at his list. I think he's got 2 mutant rat fiends on there, which I love. I love the rat fiends. It's totally different. So I think he's got 2 mutant rat fiends and Scud, and I don't think he has any shock troopers, to be honest with you. He's got some spearmen and some chaff and some nightmares. So it's a cool list. It's different than your average rats list.
Anything else you're looking forward to or looking out for?
Oh, I am excited. I mean, we get to drive to this one, so it's not a long flight for the weekend, so that'll be nice. So we're heading down Thursday night, and staying through Monday, so we'll get to enjoy the whole weekend, get to check out the con down there at Nova. It'll be my first time going to Nova, so I'm looking forward to that. And then I'm actually looking forward to having 3 games on a Saturday and 3 games on a Sunday instead of 4 games on Saturday. So that was always ruthless.
Sounds miserable. Yeah,
it was ruthless.
That's too much.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that change, which I think they did last year for the Omaha Masters to put the 3 games on both days.
Yeah, because I think it was 4 games the last time it was in the Northeast, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember all the best of the rest guys going, see you fellas.
Oh yeah, we hit the bar real fast after game 3 and checked in on you guys after that. Yeah. All right. So also important note, it's at Nova Open. Anything that, I mean, I've never gone to a gaming con. Is there stuff we should be looking out for?
So I'm hoping it's like a mini Adepticon. That's what I'm hoping anyway. Okay. So
yeah, I've really looked at
that'll be nice.
Yeah. I've been to a couple of cons before, Origins and God, what was the other one? Something else down in the States. I can't remember, but I was a lot younger back then, playing card games and that sort of thing. But it's normally a good time to walk around and just take a look at vendors and people and other games maybe. But I mean, as long as they don't start with a G in front of their name, I'll be okay with all of that stuff.
Yeah, so I've got some buddies from up here that are going down to do other things. That are like checking out Mordheim and Old World and BattleTech and stuff like that. So
Well,
the group from here,
Nice.
from the Elmira Crossroads area, is going down in force, but they're all checking out different. Everybody's playing different games while they're down there.
Very cool.
Yeah, so I'm excited. I think again, if it's anything like Adepticon, it'll be quite a show, and looks like it's pretty big because I know they sold out of the hotel block pretty quickly when they really weren't
Yeah.
planning to. So that
Those
was
rooms went
unexpected.
fast.
Yeah, right.
it's all the Mantic players. That's what it is.
Well, there's a whole group of people that weren't there last year, so that's the thing.
No, that's true.
Mhm.
Is there anything? I don't know if you guys have had a chance to take a look through a bunch of the lists, but is there anything that you noticed that was like sort of missing or something like Trickster's wands? I'm expecting those to be just about everywhere. But the one thing that did surprise me is there's not a lot of Twilight Kins. Like I thought that was supposed to be the Boogeyman this time around.
Everybody was on the Twilight Kin Boogeyman bandwagon, right? And that's only 4 of them.
Oh, wow.
What
It is
about you
interesting
there?
how
Is there anything
diverse
that
the
you
spread
noticed?
is. There's not. I mean, there's a lot of different armies represented.
There is. Was anything that either one of you came up with? Was there something that you looked at and went, that's kind of interesting that you can say no?
Well, Northern Alliance being the most represented one, that's new, right?
That worries the crap out of me, to be completely honest, because they're all like shooting lists.
I think it's everybody saw the efficiencies with the pack hunters and just said, I'm just going to take 4 to 6 cheap shooting units that are just like Glade Stalkers, just significantly cheaper. So that's what they're doing.
Yeah, I'll say
Diet
Northern
Glade
Alliance.
Stalkers.
Go ahead.
I just said they're just like Diet Glade Stalkers. That's all.
Northern Alliance is actually a bit of a nightmare for me for this army. I fought them several times, and I just end up being frozen the entire game
and not being able to charge anything.
Moving 4 is pretty rough. There's that dude in the Mid-Atlantic. He went to Crossroads. I played him last year, and it was like one of the tightest games, and I won it because once you start picking up tokens, it was like plunder or loot or something. Once you start picking them up, you can't be pushed because Sarakina was pushing all my dudes.
Oh, so you were just passing out of range.
So I would just shovel the loot onto my dudes, like the dogs bring it back, and then I would like become heavier, right? So I could go 4 inches up the board. It was like a wild match that we rolled out turn 7. It ended at 6 and I won. We rolled out 7 and everything collapsed into me. Like his big horde just kind of, it did the thing where the end of the horde goes like 30 inches because it whips around. And he did like smash my dudes with all the tokens and all this, but hey, turn 6. It was Brad. His name's Brad. Anyway, it was a wild game. So that is a little concerning, and I'm gonna push that from my mind.
Spear Horde is no friend of yours, is it?
Yeah, it sucks. I guess I'm glad I didn't bring the Brocs, because the Brocs are my chew up a horde answer. And then obviously if it's got spears, like your hordes are pretty nightmarish for me.
Yeah.
In general, in Snare Horde. But who also fight, like the TK one fights. The thing about the Naiads is they don't really do a lot, but they always have the hammer.
Yeah, so they do a steady stream of like 6 wounds, 7 wounds, right?
So I'm just gonna forget that there's all that NA. Sarakina, though, if I had to pick one model that my army hates, it's Sarakina.
That makes sense.
Frozen,
push back.
I didn't even think about that. That does suck.
It's rough. Yeah.
All right. Well, in that case, I think we'll end that there. Like I said, this is going to be quick and dirty. This is just a introduction to the Masters players and that sort of thing. So this has once again been Nerve Check. Thank you again for Corey and Harry for showing up tonight and giving us our words of wisdom. And we will see you guys at Masters. Thank you very much.
Team Northeast, best sports, baby.
Paragon.